You are listening to Practical and Woo by Mindset and Manifest. My name is Eden, and I invite you to embark on a journey with me to explore the practical and spiritual edges of the unknown for the purpose of allowing you to embody and empower yourself uniquely as you are and to intentionally create and live a life of freedom and fulfillment. Each week, I am going to discuss topics such as energetics, reality creation, manifestation, astrology, tarot, and more to help empower you to live beyond perceived limitations and to practically design your life so it feels like absolute magic every step of the way. Let's dive in. Well, hello, brilliant soul. Today's topic is about growth, transformation, and how we can so often find ourselves in the middle of something uncomfortable, something truly and deeply painful, something irritating, only to later discover that the very thing we're experiencing is the key to our leveling up. I've been reflecting on how this principle manifests in my life, and I recently had a thought pop into my mind. Why is it that craftsmanship often requires a process of roughing or irritating the project in order to make it function better and stronger? Take pottery, for example. In pottery, there is a technique known as scoring, a process where the potter carves lines and edges into the surface of two pieces of clay before joining them together. The tiny, deliberate scratches are what allow a structure to bond and form. I imagine that scoring might feel uncomfortable if it were performed on my skin, and it reminds me greatly of something that could be perceived as irritating or painful. And yet, the scoring isn't meant or intended to damage the clay, but to instead prepare it to become something greater than the sum of its parts. The idea really got me thinking. We so often desire for our lives to look smooth and pristine, much like clay in its pre-worked form. But what if the idea of scoring is actually one of the keys to embracing the journey forward? We can think of it like being presented with a challenge, an irritation, a discomfort, an event that shakes us out of our comfort zone. Maybe instead of recoiling in the face of these sorts of moments, we can recognize that we are being scored for something more. Perhaps the discomfort and irritation of our lives carries with it the precursor for everything that we're wanting to experience and receive. Maybe it's some kind of odd confirmation. I absolutely love looking at life this way, to see the references all around me that equate to what I consider a blueprint for success. If a potter was unable to carve etches into their work, they would be left with clay that didn't become anything more. This is kind of an important thing to think about when we're faced with friction and growth. Instead of avoiding being scratched or challenged, embrace it for what it is, beyond this moment in time that's uncomfortable, because any challenge exists only in a moment, and then it quickly molds itself into something more. Perhaps all of this time, your challenges have been this very thing that you asked for, simply dressed in a funny, unrecognizable packaging. Maybe it's leading you exactly where you're wanting to go. Time and time again, I have come to learn that it's through the discomfort that clarity comes. It's through the tension that we begin to expand. It's when we feel the resistance that we get an opportunity to transcend it. I know we've talked about resistance a lot lately, and it's an important topic to massage. I want to invite you to think of it like this. Every time you resist, every time you try to run away from discomfort, you're rejecting an opportunity to grow. You're denying an opportunity to be shaped, to be molded, to level up in the way that you're likely wanting to. This scoring The emotional and mental friction is the mechanism that opens you to the possibility of being something greater. And without it, you remain unaffected and also unchanged. How many times have you faced a challenge in your life and thought to yourself, this is just too much, I cannot handle this? How many times have you been pushed to your limits, whether emotionally, mentally, or physically, and thought that you couldn't go on? And yet, after you permitted yourself to venture through this challenge, making it to the other side, how many times were you able to look back and see it as a defining moment in your life? Well, it's those very moments, the ones where you felt like you were scored, that often are the most defining and powerful moments of your personal transformation. I want to encourage you to start thinking about examples of this in your own life. What have you personally come through that, even though it was difficult, painful, or challenging, made you a stronger version of yourself? Better yet, made you a version of yourself that you actually prefer? In the beginning, any process of learning or experiencing may feel like it's tearing you apart. You might feel like you're failing at it or like you're not getting anywhere. And with each misstep, each failure, each moment of discomfort, you are actually being shaped, meticulously crafted. This is what mastery is made of. And in mastery comes the wisdom to apply the skills that were forged in the fire towards new pursuits that continue to help you grow in perpetual motion. Building emotional resilience and the capacity to move through discomfort is a journey. I admit it's often far from easy, but it's somehow always worth it. It's a journey that requires patience and trust and faith in the process. And the key to mastering such a process is learning to trust the unfolding of your own life, and in understanding that every single challenge, every difficulty, and every moment of discomfort is part of the beautiful journey of your growth. One of the most profound realizations that you can make is that you don't need to fight your way through life. You don't need to push against the current, constantly trying to force things to happen. Instead, you can allow yourself to surrender to the process by embracing the discomfort, the challenges, the scratches, and the scoring, knowing that they are part of your creative process in manifesting a reality that feels like your authentic, soul-aligned destination. Life is always unfolding in ways that serve your highest good, even if you can't see it in the moment. Just as the potter shapes the clay with care and intention, life is shaping you with purpose and intention. Every challenge, every difficulty, every moment of tension is part of that process. The more you can embrace the discomfort, the more you can release the need to control it, the more you will begin to flow with life. As you move through your life, I invite you to consider how you can embrace being scored and etched by the experiences that you're having, how you can lean into the discomfort instead of resisting it. How can you allow the tension to be a catalyst for your growth? When you embrace discomfort, when you trust the process of transformation, you begin to see the beauty in your journey. You begin to realize that the struggles, the challenges, and the difficulties are not obstacles to overcome, but opportunities to evolve. Until next time.